think the problem with mixing tutorials is I feel like YouTube is just packed with people giving super specific mixing advice or saying things like, you need this plugin.
You should always clip gain vocals before compression.
Here's 5 things you're doing wrong on every mix.
YouTube mixing tutorials have conditioned people to think in a way that makes you anxious that you're making the wrong decisions all the time. And that just leaves people feeling like either they don't know enough or they're not good enough, or if they just had this one thing, that's going to change everything and make their mixes great. But the actual problem here is that you've accidentally built this huge collection of random mix tips and advanced technical information, but you don't really know how or when to apply it properly. Maybe you don't really know where to begin when you start a mix, so you just start randomly applying mixing techniques that you've learned on YouTube. Maybe you've built a mix and it sounds pretty good, but you're not really sure where to go next. So you just start processing things for the sake of processing them, and then you end up going around in circles because your mix sounds overcooked. This can be a dangerous place to be, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I've been guilty myself of dishing out some random, no context mix tips at times, and I feel like I want to offer something more valuable than that. So I've been thinking a lot about how I might do that. And then the other day I got this YouTube comment which said this. This person said, "I really liked that you approached the topic from an emotional perspective rather than a technical one. After all, we're making music, not exploring the universe, right?" And I love that, because that is exactly the message that I want to get across. I feel like people have become so engrossed in the technical information that they've completely lost sight of the art form of mixing and how to enjoy mixing. So I've decided to make a mixing series. In this series, we're going to mix the track from start to finish, and all we're going to focus on is how to make mixing decisions purely based on feeling. I'm going to show you my entire thought process, including all of the wrong decisions, all of the experimentation, all of the stuff we try but it doesn't sound very good, all of the stuff which is conveniently edited out of a lot of mixing tutorials. And we will, of course, talk about technical stuff along the way, but ultimately this is going to be my approach to mixing a track based on feeling and based on emotion and intuition. But we're going to start with a non-negotiable exercise that I use on every single mix that I do. And there's 3 things to understand in this. So this is the track that we're going to be working on throughout the series. It's a rough mix. Hang on. It's a rough mix. This is literally just the vocal production session, the session that we track the vocals in. I've talked about this kind of workflow before where I track vocals in a separate session. So I'm not going to go into that in too much detail. I do have another video talking about this sort of vocal tracking setup. If you want to know more about that, you can check that out in another video. Anyway, let's take a listen to this rough mix, and then we'll talk a bit about the track and how we're going to make a plan to turn this into a mix that has tons of emotion and feeling, and how we can bring that out in the mix.
Take a ride, Monday night, and I'm a train wreck. The summer sings and I'm alive, but I'm still holding on. You went away, but can you call me when you get there? I'm a little out of sync, and all my words come out wrong. Oh, say it like you mean it. For me, oh, tell me that you feel it.
So for full disclosure, this is a song called Say It by Kate Lomas. I produced this song and I have mixed this before, but I mixed it back in like mid-2020. This was originally released in 2021 as a vinyl exclusive track on her Party Tricks EP, the vinyl version. Then it was re-released again in 2023 as a digital single. But the original mix was done mid-2020 during COVID, when there was so much other stuff going on and so much uncertainty about the future and the future of my business, of her artist project. I've got basically no recollection of mixing this song whatsoever, but apparently I did. So we are pretty much mixing this from scratch as if we're mixing it for the first time. Now, the reason I chose this track is because it's got a nice blend of live instrumentation with the live drums, the bass, the guitar tracks. Then there's some synth and some program parts. There's some ambient samples and stuff like that. And then we've got obviously the lead vocal plus this backing vocal arrangement. So there's quite a broad mix of different things in this song. And if we want to bring that all together in a way which is cohesive and emotional, and make sure that we don't keep going around in circles when we're trying to mix that, we're going to need a roadmap. I feel like the reason that people get lost in a mix is exactly the same reason where people get lost when they're out and about, and it's because they don't have a roadmap. If I just go out in my car and drive around for the day hoping to end up somewhere beautiful, but all I'm doing is just reacting to wherever I feel like turning in that moment, or only ever taking left turns because I saw a YouTube video that says I should always turn left, I could end up somewhere beautiful, or I could end up in Swindon. Apologies to the audio community of Swindon. But the point is, if you start a mix without a destination and you're just like randomly reacting to what's in front of you, you might stumble across something really interesting and really cool, but you might also just get completely lost and end up going round and round in circles, and then you just end up going home feeling frustrated because you've wasted an entire day. Whereas if you have a clear destination in your mind of where you want the song to end up, you'll eliminate the guesswork and you'll make decisions that are intentional and that serve the song. So how do we build a mixing roadmap? What are you even talking about? Well, to build a roadmap for your song, you need to answer 3 questions that will all inform each other. The first question is, what are the key words in the lyrics? We're looking for words that are emotive, words that provoke imagery, and words that give you an idea of what the songwriter was feeling at the time that they wrote it. And remember that there's no right or wrong here. This is just your own interpretation of the meaning of the song as a mix engineer. So let's try it with this song.
Take a ride Monday night and I'm a train wreck.
So take a ride, that's the first line of this song. And for me, that really links to the driving feeling of this song. So that means we have to respect the groove and the rhythm section within this mix. Anything we do that's going to kill the groove or get in the way of that driving feeling is probably bad.
The summer sings and I'm alive, but I'm still holding on.
So we're talking about summer, feeling alive. To me, I interpret that as being warm, uplifting.
You went away, but can you call me when you get there? I'm a little out of sync and all my words come out wrong.
So there she says, can you call me when you get there? So there's a sense of distance here for me. It's a conversation probably between 2 people that are quite far away. That's how I interpret this. So once you've picked your keywords, the second question is, how do you want the mix to feel? Not how do you want it to sound, how do you want it to feel? Think about it like this. If you go to the cinema to watch a movie, you probably come away from that movie and you say things to the people that you're with like, oh, that movie made me feel really sad, or I felt really happy, or I was on edge, or it was hilarious, whatever it may be. You probably don't sit there thinking about things like the color palette or the framing of the shot or what lenses they use to shoot the film, unless you're a filmmaker or a complete nerd. So at this stage, we need to stop thinking like a mix engineer or like a producer or like a complete nerd and start paying attention to the feelings that you want the listener to experience when they hear the song.
Oh, say it like you mean it. For me, oh, tell me that you feel it.
The chorus for me is like she's looking for confirmation, looking for reassurance. There's an uncertainty to this perhaps. Ultimately, the way I interpret this song is that it's quite a vulnerable, intimate message being spoken to a person who is far away. And the vocal is very delicate, but there's this driving, summery feeling to the whole track. So what does that mean in terms of the whole mix? So that's things like, what is the main character of the mix? What do we want to be in the foreground? If it's the vocal, then what do we need to do to it in order to get it to feel the right way? We also need to think about things like, how do we want to treat the groove of the song? If we want the song to feel loose and natural and live, then we probably need to treat it in a way that sounds like it's being played in a room. But remember that it's all about feeling, and that's what informs these decisions. It's easy to start a mix by pulling up your kick drum and throwing an SSL channel strip on it because every YouTube mix engineer tells you that's how you get the iconic drum sound. And then you start compressing the shit out of it, boosting the low end, cranking the top end so that it's clicky and it's huge. And on its own, it sounds really impressive as a kick drum. But if that's not the right approach for the feeling of the song, then the rest of your mix is going to be built on something which doesn't suit the song. And that's why we make a roadmap. I feel like this is the point where people comment and go, well, no real mix engineer is actually writing all this down and making a roadmap though, are they? But so what? The point is, this is the thought process that I apply to every single mix that I do. And I work on mixes every week. This is my full-time job. And I apply this thought process every single time. And I have done for mixes that have been on radio stations all over the world, on TV shows, video games. And even if I'm not writing this down every time I mix, I am consciously or subconsciously going through this thought process every time. So I believe if you've not thought about mixing in this way before, then it pays to write it down and just get into the habit of going through this thought process when you're mixing. And this stuff is really important because this is about taste and creative interpretation. And that's important because in the next 3 years, I promise you, the AI mix machine is coming. I reckon in 3 years, anyone will be able to hit a button and have their track instantly mixed perfectly in seconds. And they'll probably be able to do revisions of that mix, and they'll be able to tweak every last detail until the cows come home to get milked by some AI milk machine. But the point is, what AI can't replace is your own taste. And I truly believe that the only way to survive in this AI generation is to know and trust your own taste and understand how to apply it to your craft. Every single element of the technical stuff is replaceable and repeatable, but the creative stuff, the taste, the interpretation, that isn't. So learn how to interpret emotions and feelings and real human stuff before the mix machine comes and takes over. Anyway, the good news is next week we're going to be setting this track up for mixing and not by an AI-powered mix machine. I'm going to show you how you can create a super simple mix template, which is going to allow you to focus on just mixing with feeling and not getting bogged down in loads of technical uncertainty. I'll show you my whole mix template, we'll go through it, and we'll do it all using stock plugins so that I can show you that none of the tools are really that important. It's all about the process. If that sounds interesting to you and you want to see this mix come together, then subscribe to the channel, or you can sign up to the mailing list on the link in the description below, and I'll send out some more thoughts on this if you're interested. Or you can just try and remember to turn up for the next one. I'll see you then. Bye.